Shalom, and welcome to a special series of lessons in honor of Passover in the book, The Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim. We will be giving 2 lessons in this book. Of course, we're not going to be able in 2 15-minute lessons to cover the entire book, but we will try to give 2 perspectives on the book. One, in this lesson, will be a perspective on the entire book. I'm going to try to understand in a deep understanding of what is the message of the entire book, the Song of Songs. In our second lesson, we will deal with 2 specific parts of the book and try to understand what's the uniqueness of the message in these verses. So, welcome and join us with this understanding and studying together in the book, the beautiful book, the Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim Asher L'Shlomo. As I said, in our first lesson, we will be looking at the book from a bird's eye view. I want to divide the entire book and see how we can look at the book what is the entire overlook of the book talking about. Of course, anybody who has ever read Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs, understands that we are talking about a love story. A love story between the Ra'aya, the woman, the girl, and the Dod, her beloved, her lover. But the book describes the intensive relationship between the 2. I want to divide the story. The song, it's actually poetry. We're talking about, it's not a novel, it's not a story that goes in chronological order. It also transfers from one person to the other person. Even in the very first beginning, if we read the first 2 sentences, we see, Yishakeni minashikot pihu. He would kiss me with the kisses of his mouth. She's dreaming, she's expecting, if he would only kiss me. We're talking about the beloved in the third person, he. But in that exact sentence, Ki tovim dodecha miyain. Your love is better than wine. So she's dreaming, she's imagining, she's wondering, and he's in third person, but she's also talking to him. So we see the transfer from person 1 to from the third person to the second person. The entire dialogue, sometimes she's talking to herself, sometimes she's talking to her friends, sometimes she's talking to him, sometimes he's talking to her. So I want to get an overview of the entire book. To do this, we have to divide the book to 5 parts. Actually, the Song of Songs, as it's Song of Many Songs, or it's the Song of Songs, the Song of Songs, and both answers are true. It is the song, looking at the entire book as one song, of, meaning the holiest, most pure of all songs, but it's also the song put together of many, many small songs. I want to read it and understand it as what is the structure of the book. So the first part, we're talking about chapter 1, verses 1 to 8. In this part, I want to claim that she, the Ra'aya, the lady that we're talking about here, the beloved lady, she is looking and searching and dreaming and hoping to find her beloved. She is talking, she's looking for him, and the final sentence of this part, he refuses. Im lo tid'ilach, I'm talking about chapter 1, verse 8. If you do not know, O most beautiful of women, he's not willing to tell her where he is. She's asking, where are you? And he says, I'm not going to answer you. But if you want to find me, he says, go and follow in the footsteps of the flocks. Pasture your kid goats beside the shepherd's dwellings. This is the first part. The second part is exactly vice versa. He is searching for her. Though there is some kind of a dialogue in between, but the initiative is coming from him. And here we're talking about chapter 1, verse 9, Perek Aleph, Pasuk Tet, and we will be going all the way on to chapter 2, verse 17, the final sentence. It's the entire chapter 2, and starting from verse 9 in chapter 1. Here, he is the one who's looking for her. He is the one who is. We have a little bit of continuation. We are a few steps ahead, but he is actually trying, and he's initiating. Though they are praising each other, they're definitely praising. The two of them are praising each other, but she is the one here who says no. She says, look, on the one hand, you're not ready. She refers to them. I'm reading in chapter 2, in verse 15. Echezu lanu shualim tanim mechablim kramim. There are little foxes who are bothering us. There are different disturbances in our relationship. We are not ready yet. Though, in this second part, they are closer to each other. They're not, as in the first part, where she was the only one talking and he said no. Here, he initiated, she answers, and they're loving each other. They're expressing their love to each other. But they don't come to a final relationship because she says, no, wait, we're not there yet. After these two parts, where he is searching her, she is searching him, and he is searching her, and they're trying to develop some kind of love, comes the third part. And the third part is the centerpiece of the book, and I would say it's the most dramatic in terms of the love between each other. Here we would say we reached the peak of the book. The love is there. I'm talking about chapter 3, verse 1, the entire chapter 3, all the way on to the entire chapter 4, going on to the chapter 5, verse 1. They are talking about each other. Though at the beginning she's expressing she wants him, and then he says, no, I love you so much. And they're advancing to each other, and they're expressing an intimate love between each other. She is encouraging him, and he's encouraging her. And he invites her, and she says, yes, let's love each other. There's a lot of metaphors here of the description of the love between them, between them. They're describing how much they love each other. And I'm reading chapter 4, verse 7. You are totally beautiful, my beloved. There's no blemish in you. With me from Lebanon, my bride. With me from Lebanon you shall come. You shall gaze and peek at Amana. And they're talking about the fruits, and they're talking about the beauty, and they're talking about the smell, the aroma. And we actually feel the love here. You really get into it. And this is the third part of the book. After this, after these strong, dramatic, powerful descriptions of love, in the fourth part. And the fourth part, in my eyes, begins in chapter 5, verse 2. Ani yeshena v'libi er. I am asleep, but my heart is awake. I am asleep, and my heart is awake. In chapter 5, verse 2. This goes all the way on, the entire chapter 5, until chapter 6, verse 3, where she says, don't worry, leave me alone, I'll find him. verse 6, where is your beloved gone? Ana halachtu. Where is he? She can't find him. Don't worry, leave me alone. I'll find him. Here in after we reached the dramatic description, powerful description of love, here in chapter 4, or in the fourth part, we have a fall. We are here, he doesn't exist at all. He never comes. She says, don't worry, I'll find him, but she's actually saying, I don't know what to do. I lost him. And then comes the final part. The final part will be from chapter 6, verse 4, all the way to the end of the book, chapter 8. And here we're coming to the solution of this dilemma that was brought here. We had the first two parts. He was going after her, and she was going after him, and he said, I'm not ready. He was going after her, and she said, I'm not ready. Then finally they meet and they express their love so much. Then comes the big fall. Here in the fifth part, different than the third, where every time he offered, she said, yes, here I'm ready. Here we see something a little more complicated. She explains she wants him, and he says, but I want you. But here we see she's reacting not so dramatically, slowly. She's explaining, she's transferring from a more intimate description of love to something a little stronger but a little far further. And we see that the entire book gets the final point here in the end of the book. And what the end of the book is telling us is that the beauty of love is not only the powerful moment of being together. The beauty of the love is the actual process of searching, dreaming, imagining, chasing each other, looking ahead at something so beautiful. The dramatic back and forth. This is what the book of Song of Songs is telling us. And of course, the Song of Songs is an allegory to the relationship between man and God, between the people of Israel and God who's chosen them. Where we start from the people of Israel praying to God, not always does he answer. Then sometimes he's looking for us and we're not there. So then comes the real great relationship between each other, maybe in the Holy Temple, maybe when in the land of Israel, maybe the love is there. But then sometimes there's a drop in the relationship. Does this mean that we've come to an end? Of course not. Then comes the final description, where remember me, I'll remember you, and we will continue looking for each other. And the dramatic message of the book of Song of Songs is that this in itself, the fact that we are looking for each other, this in itself is the true expression of love. The true expression of love is not driving from one place to a destiny and arriving at the destiny. No. It's the actual journey. It's the actual journey on the way, searching each other, calling, finding out, how are you? Where are you? One interested in the other, and the other interested in the one. The people of Israel and the connection between God is always there. And this is what the book is telling us, that the love between each other is always there. The book of Song of Songs we read on Passover, where God chose the people of Israel at the very beginning. We love each other. We didn't not yet know each other, but we were beginning a long journey of searching and trying to express love and disappointments. But the book is telling us, yes, this is in itself the love story between the people of Israel and Hashem. Shalom.